There is no question that Kamala Harris was a DEI hire. Now, what I'm confused about, I thought DEI was a good thing according to the political left. I thought DEI was a wonderful thing according to leftists generally. They have told us repeatedly that it's not racist in any way. By the way, hot tip, it's racist. Anytime you put someone in a position above someone else solely based on their race, that's racist. Right? If you consider no other merits but that, or if you consider all merits but you exclude someone based on the color of their skin and choose someone based on the color of their skin, you are engaging in a process that involves racism. It's not reverse racism. It's racist. Joe Biden declared on 2 separate occasions that he was planning to select very specific people in terms of gender and racial background to be a candidate for a position. One was his vice president. The other was a Supreme Court nominee. As we long discussed during the Biden administration here on this radio show, during the time that it happened, Ketanji Brown Jackson was selected above 94% of the population before we ever examined any bit of the record whatsoever. Biden declared he was selecting a black female. There's nothing wrong with selecting a black female. There are plenty of brilliant black females that would make fine Supreme Court justices. Ketanji Brown Jackson isn't one of them. I almost said Brown Simpson because of Nicole Brown Simpson. My bad. But understand, just doing the basic math, if you say I'm only picking a woman where you're excluding half the population, and now if you say you're only picking a black woman, well, you know, the black population is roughly 13% of the American population, and roughly half of that's about 6.5% of the population, so you're excluding roughly 93% of the population when you limit yourself to just those individuals. And that's all well and good, too. But let's just call what we're doing. That's a DEI process. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Naturally, if you're going to be inclusive to a certain group of people, you're going to be exclusive to a different group of people, and that exclusivity based on color of one's skin rolls against the concepts that we claim to believe in the United States of America, to judge one by the content of one's character as opposed to by the color of one's skin. Similarly, even before he did this with the Jackson nomination, he did so with Kamala Harris, saying that he wanted to pick a black female to be his running mate. And then those that he vetted came down to 4 individuals, and they were all black females. Joe Biden made it clear. At the time that he did it, we criticized the selection by saying Kamala Harris is a wholly unlikable person. You've picked someone that's even more unlikable than Hillary Clinton, and you did so because you pigeonholed yourself into only selecting a black female. I remember doing this as if it were yesterday. I'm elephantine about these things. Yet now the mainstream media wants to pretend like this is some sort of shock to them as a result of certain comments made yesterday by our good friend and Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett. Tim Burchett said the truth, that Kamala Harris was a DEI hire. Now, up until yesterday, I did not believe that we were supposed to look at these words as automatically a negative. According to the leftist that I have spoken with and heard from, the DEI process is perfectly legitimate, it's perfectly good, it is worthwhile, and it is important. Isn't that what we were told? How is calling someone a DEI hire demeaning in any way? I thought we celebrated the concept, lefties, don't we? There's nothing racist about pointing this out. I didn't bring the process up. Nobody that is criticizing DEI brought this to the table to begin with. The political left brought this to the table to begin with, friends. they're telling us that this is as important as anything else on the table when it comes to hiring practices of companies around the United States of America. And I suppose that includes hiring practices within the confines of the executive branch of the government. So now, suddenly, when we are pointing out the obvious, that Kamala Harris is not ready to ascend to the presidency, and I can point to any number of reasons why that's the case, suddenly the left is like, how dare you mention the truth? Because it becomes inconvenient for you? Well, the truth doesn't change just because you don't like it. And they're trying to change the truth when it comes to the manner in which Joe Biden made his selection as vice president or for vice president. And they're trying to change the idea that he personally selected her to be, quote, border czar. Now, border czar was a term that has been used since the time that he named her to designate what her role or job title might be with regard to the southern border. Associated Press, March of 2021. President Joe Biden has tapped Vice President Kamala Harris to lead the White House effort to tackle the migration challenges facing the administration. Flash forward to yesterday. Time magazine. Kamala Harris was never Biden's border czar. That's the headline. They're gaslighting you. They're gaslighting you. In the meantime, if you want to see some of the reporting or hear from some of the reporting regarding the DEI, and I'm going to get to the pivot in a minute because there's a pivot here because we need to address this and move on from it. There's way too many ways to criticize Kamala Harris, and there is a danger. There's a trap being set for all of us, and you need to be aware of it. But here is, what is his name? Manu Raju? Yes, Manu Raju on CNN?
Correct.
Listen to this.
To a Republican Congressman, Tim Burchett of Tennessee, about the fact that they would be going up against...
Okay, I don't feel so bad about mispronouncing Manu Raju's name because he mispronounced Tim's name. So.
Burchett.
Burchett. It's Burchett.
Question to a Republican Congressman, Tim Burchett of Tennessee, about the fact that they would be going up against someone who would be the first black South Asian woman who could be president of the United States. And
Black South Asian? Is that what we're going with now?
What that means for the Republican campaign.
Biden said, first off, he said he's going to hire a black female for vice president, and that he just skipped over. What about white females? What about any other group? It just when you go down that route, you take mediocrity, and that's what they have right now as a vice president.
Are you suggesting she was a DEI hire?
100%. She was a.
So listen to this now. Did you notice something about what that exchange?
Yeah, it was Manu that brought up the word DEI.
It was Manu that brought up DEI. And Burchett agreed with him.
The other group, it just when you go down that route, you take mediocrity, and that's what they have right now as a vice president.
Are you suggesting she was a DEI hire?
100%. She was a DEI hire. He said he was going to hire, and she didn't.
Manu Raju smirks. If you watch this video, and I'm watching it right now, you can find it on my Twitter feed, at Matt Murphy Show. Look under at Matt Murphy Show. About 15 hours ago, I say Burchett is 100% correct. Biden announced it. And look at Manu Raju at about the 40-second mark or thereabouts.
It was a DEI hire?
Smirks. When he says, are you saying it was a DEI hire? And Burchett says 100%.
100%. She was a DEI hire. He said he was going to hire, and she didn't.
There is a smirk on his face.
Her record is abysmal at best.
We know that as a former prosecutor.
All right, so obviously a little bit of a setup by CNN, but Burchett is not incorrect.